G'day guys, Jeff here from the Fridays Frothy. So I hope you like what we're doing here. If you do, please like, subscribe and tell your friends. But right for now, welcome to the show. Grab yourself a froth. This is the Friday Frothy, Legends of the Lanes. So welcome to the show, Jeanette Baker. Hello, how are you?
Hi Jeff, how you doing? I'm fantastic, thank you.
I gotta tell you, you're one of the most amazing bowlers Australia's ever seen. But I just want to throw in, hearing your voice just takes me back to the Coca-Cola Classic and hearing you on the
Ah,
commentary. You are the voice of the Coca-Cola Classic, and it's such a pleasure to have you on the show. So yeah, amazing. What days they were, hey?
that was fantastic. But I mean, in two more ways than one, it was fantastic. Working with Steve Mackey was number one, and Channel 9 at the time were so supportive and outstanding before it went on to a private production crew.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very special, very, very special times. I was really lucky.
Yeah, I'll get onto a bit of that and your tournament and all your victories and all your representations very shortly. But I just wanted to start off the show with, before we even get out to all the titles and everything, did you realize at the time just how big you were in the sport and what an influence you were to people around Australian bowling?
No, no.
No? No?
I was after I won my first World Cup. Then that's when I was seconded to go to Sydney and go and work with AMF, right under the guise of Steve Mackey, and I'd known Steve since I was 11 years old.
Yep.
So there was a great bond there, and he said, "Now here's the opportunity that you can go out and preach the gospel about bowling to the media and hopefully educate them and raise our credibility in the general marketplace about that we are athletes and we are do require a certain degree of respect."
Mm, mm. Did that come
So,
with
as
a?
far as the impact of that, I don't know. Did it have any impact? Was it helpful? I just hope and pray it was. I don't know.
Oh, I would think it had to be. Look, I came through the bowling ranks, in the 80s through to the 2010, basically, and your name was just solidly written in the history books of being this legend of the sport and everything that you did for the sport. Um, Being at that age, it must have been a fair bit of pressure for you back then, wouldn't it?
Um, yeah, pressure. Pressure is only what you perceive it to be.
Yeah,
It got a bit flurrying around when you're in Adelaide and doing some work and go, oh, sorry, I've got to get the 11 o'clock flight because I'm in the 2 o'clock squad this afternoon in the New South Wales Open. Okay, bye.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But you just did it in your stride. That was the pace.
yeah, yeah.
But sometimes the one thing that we have to remember is, I was blessed to have Steve Mackey to open avenues for me to be able to go out and, as I say, the objective was to just talk about the game as a sport. That yes, it is a recreation. However, there is more than 5% of the bowling population at that time. Because remember, back in those days, we had 100,000 members of
Mm,
TBA,
mm,
and 5% were the elite. Well, as you should in any other sport, we were classified as beer drinking and cigarette smoking, and how could you be an athlete?
yeah.
Okay, but that was my objective, is to try and re-educate people in that regard.
Yeah, and I think you did a fantastic job, Jeanette. Hey, let's start right from the very beginning. What got you into bowling? How did you actually start, and where did you start?
Oh, it was a family thing, a total
Yeah,
family thing. Yeah, my mum and dad started bowling because my dad was a competitive motorcyclist at the time, and mum considered that was a bit dangerous with three kids. So consequently, he took up bowling. Then mum said, "Oh, this is something that I can do as well," and she could do during the daytime, and he could bowl at night time. And so, as little munchkins, we used to be thrown in the back of a car with our pajamas and dressing gown on and go to the bowl. And then eventually I sort of went, oh, well, naturally the progression occurred as we got old enough that we would bowl. My brother bowled, my sister bowled, I bowled, and I was the masochist who just kept going.
Yeah, wow, wow. Did it come absolutely natural to you, or was it something that took time, years to develop into, or were you just a natural at it from word go?
I think I sort of inherited the really good sports genes from my dad because he seemed to be able to tackle anything that he put his mind to, you know.
Yeah,
Did he want to play VFL? Absolutely, but he was too short. So, okay, he played VFA. Anyhow, but he played tennis, he played cricket. There was no sport he didn't have a go at. And had that option all through my teen years to try different sports. And you're going to laugh. I thought, oh, bowling, this is a lot easier than hitting the swimming pool at 5 o'clock in the morning. This is easier than, busted ankles and fingers and everything playing netball. So I'll stick to bowling.
yeah. Did you find when you first started that was a lot of people that I've interviewed have spoken about not a lot of people, mentors, coaches, people to help them come through the sport. Did you have anyone that helped you through?
Oh, my dad was my overseer, my coach, my mentor until such time as I moved to Sydney because he collaborated with Eric Jang at that stage and said, I can't take her any further,
Wow.
so you have to take it to the next level. So
When did you start to know that you could match it with anyone in the world? Basically, you became that good. What age group were you in?
I never recognised that and still haven't.
No, no,
I don't
really,
believe that,
really.
really. Um, I Funny story that people perhaps don't realise. My dad was with me when I won my first World Cup.
Yep.
And as I say, Eric Jang was involved with my coaching, and he said to Dad, "Oh, you've got to send her to the States, put her on the pro tour." And my dad said, "No, no, 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 she's not good enough, not good enough." And so then when I won the next one back to back, the question got raised again. You've got to do it now. You've got to do it now. No, still not good enough. Not good enough yet. So
Wow.
okay, so that's where I embraced the opportunity that I had to go and participate in pro tournaments, women's pro tournaments in the States. And to cash in one of those, I went, oh, okay, that's a bonus. But no, it was difficult to. I couldn't support myself if I chose to do it independently, so I never did it.
Yeah. Okay. So do you look back at your career now and think, wow, what an amazing achievement that I've done?
When I reflect back, and trust me, I have my FIQ medals and one World Cup. That's all I've got in my house. That's relative to what I've done.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay.
It, yep. COVID, I cleared absolutely everything out because I knew I was going to retire,
Yep.
and so it was a matter of okay, this chapter's ending and the next chapter's starting. So it was a complete cut off and closure in that regard. But um, yeah, I planned my retirement. For about 2 years. I planned when I was going to retire and how I was going to do it. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Jeanette, I'm really hoping that some of the reason I'm doing these episodes is to celebrate the legends of Tenpin bowling in Australia and the achievements of what they've done and how they've created the sport to what it is. And I hold you in the highest regard. And I hope there's some younger bowlers, the younger generations coming through. And a lot of these kids would probably have heard your name, but probably don't know the achievements that you have done. And I'm just going to quickly run through this, and you tell me if I'm wrong. But yeah, 1982, you won the World Cup champion in Netherlands. You backed it up in Mexico the next year, won the World Cup champion back to back. The only person ever to do that back to back. Is that still right?
the first
Yep.
person to ever do that. There's been two or three other girls since
Yep.
in what I call the modern era. That have
Yep.
done it.
Yep.
Yeah.
What an achievement, though. I mean, you won the South Pacific Classic 75, 82, 83. I've got some great stats here. ATBC Masters Champion 81, 82, 85. The Trish Datsun Memorial Champion 81, 83. The ATBC Open Champion 82. The ATBC All Events Champion 82, 83. You've represented Australia 7 times, I believe. Won 14 medals for Australia. Represented 4 different states in Rockway. How did that come about?
Um, well, I'm Melbourne born and raised,
Yeah.
but I got divorced, and so I went. I need a change of environment, so I went to went and lived in South Australia, and which had a lot of very positive things associated with it. And then it was whilst I was living in South Australia that I won the first World Cup. And that's when things changed, and the advent of that was moving to Sydney and going, well, okay, now let's get serious about the next one.
Yep.
So, and of course, what people don't realise, to represent in the World Cup, you had to go through and win the South Pacific all over again from scratch. You didn't get a free ride, in that
Yeah.
regard. The only thing was you got a spot as the defending champion, but you still had to undergo all the different levels of qualification, and you had to win that tournament to go to the World Cup.
Yeah, okay. I asked Amanda Bradley the same thing, but did winning the World Cup change your life? Did it do anything to change your life or your bowling life?
All I hoped and prayed with having those achievements was, again, coming back to Australia and getting recognition, not for myself but for the sport,
Yeah, yeah,
and elevating its perception, particularly in the eyes of the media, where it was classified as the Laverne and Shirley down in the basement, the bowling centre down in the basement,
yeah,
and beer and Skittles, So just trying to, change that attitude was what my passion was. It was
yeah.
nothing about my own achievements or anything else like that. But, I can remember one night after league, somebody said, aren't you sick of winning things? And I said, why? What's your problem? And they said, oh, well, when's it our turn? I said, and I said, work as hard as I do, then you'll have a chance.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you there. I one of the things that I've always hated about the sport, and just to let you know, I've been involved in the Tenpin bowling industry. I think back in the days for about 25 years. Managed a centre for 10 years, an assistant manager probably for another 10 years. Greenslopes, Clayfield, and Milton up in Queensland.
Oh,
And
wow. Great
yeah,
centres. Great
yeah,
centres.
very much so, very much so. Did a bit of work with Kenny up there as well. So yeah, had a lot of really really good. But I hated the any time that bowling was on TV by reporters, and I said this a couple of times, the old bunny rubble would come out, and people falling over and, bowling the ball through the ceiling, and I absolutely hated seeing that image for Tenpin bowling, because as you know, we all want it to be a sport, not this thing that they sort of, throw on us. So
Sure.
yeah.
A Western Suburbs recreation, it used to be called.
Yeah, is that right? Is that right? Dear, oh dear. So you've come through. You started winning all these tournaments. You just touched on there that the amount of hard work and practice. So were you naturally gifted in the game, or did you have to work really hard?
I think I was blessed with a certain degree of eye-arm coordination, but at the same token, there's no such thing as perfection. So I used to go out and train and train and train, and I still do it now. Don't laugh, even with lawn bowls,
Oh
because I
yeah.
go out and I practice. I practice, if not every day. I allow myself maybe every 48 hours. I've got to be out practicing, because you've got to get better. You've got to get better. You've got to get better.
Yeah.
And it's only the drive comes from a strange position, and that is, I just don't want to let anybody down when it comes to playing pennant, or I want to help them as much as I possibly can in order for us to win, and things. That's the perception.
Yeah.
So I have no fear of going and training and practicing. It's just in me to just do it. You
Yeah.
work to do the best you possibly can.
Yeah. Do you think that's what separates the good from the elite, is that mental drive that you're talking about, that you just need to succeed? I mean, I know plenty of good bowlers who could be at the top of the game but just don't have that I have to have it. So is that a big factor?
What you think there's some that have got no fire in the belly?
Yeah, there's a few. There's a few. Well,
There
there
has
was.
been. You're absolutely right, Jeff. There has been some very, very amazing and talented bowlers that have gone through this game from era to era to era. And
Yep.
with the difference in all the eras, and I talk about the rubber era, the urethane era, and then the reactive era.
Yep.
Different people excelled at different levels of that. And I can, if anybody can set their mind back to the 60s, is out of Sydney. There used to be Steve Mackey and John Everson. Steve Mackey was not the pretty looking bowler, but he was hungry. Then you had John Everson, who had the most beautiful technique, was as smooth as silk, but wasn't hungry for it.
Yeah.
So, it happens. Everybody's built differently. Everybody does it for a different reason. Some people, for example, are more comfortable participating in team events like Rockway was and things like that, as opposed to playing in singles events,
Yep.
because they didn't want to be one of 150 that were entering, unlike now. But, when those things happen, so yeah, you see talent and go, oh, wow, wouldn't it be great to get a hold of that talent and really
Yeah.
get them
Yeah.
motivated? But if they don't have the interest, you can't. They don't have
Yeah.
it.
It's a shame to see. It really is. Hey, gotta ask you. How do you go in lawn bowls? Are you successful at that as well?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm doing
Yeah.
okay. But I made the decision that I was going to transition into lawn bowls when I retired from Tenpin. I think it's automatic.
Yeah.
And I laughed with my old ball driller and said to him, "Oh my God, I wish I'd taken up lawn bowls 10 years ago. I would have come up the back of the ball even better than what I could when I played Tenpin. My God." Because anyhow, but oh no, I love it. But it took me a couple of years before I would allow myself to actually play in the weekly pennant competition, because I came into this because I just wanted a social environment that was relaxing,
Yeah.
and I was on a mission to say, not tell anybody I ever bowled at all,
That's what I
right?
want to ask. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I wanted to come in under the radar. But one of the girls I started with, her husband, God bless him, John Sullivan, right, was very good. So she used to talk about John a lot and how good a temping bowler he was. And then she'd say, "Oh, yeah, well, so was Jeanette. She was pretty good. And so occasionally people would come up and go, "Oh, I watched you on YouTube last night. Oh, my God."
Oh no! Oh no! Here they come.
So,
What's the expectation? Like, I mean, yeah. Once they find out, oh, you're a world champion, 2 times over, and now you're in our sport of lawn bowls. What's the expectation? Do they expect you to be spot on the kitty?
no, the one thing they say is, "Oh, obviously you find it easier to transition," because it's true. Even in lawn bowls, you can look at people and go, they've got a sporting background. You can tell by the eye-arm coordination, no different in tenpin.
Yeah.
Yes, you can see they play sport and they do well. However, the expectation, I think what it is, the only time people talk about any reference is they go, playing under pressure is not a problem for you. And I went, nope, nope,
Yeah.
I don't have that problem.
Yeah.
So but I waited a couple of years before I started playing pennant, and then I only played one day a week in pennant. It was the social day. And then I gradually joined the Saturday, which in Victoria, we have a very long pennant season. So, and that's the more serious is the Saturday group.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
But no, I'm loving it. I'm loving
That's
it. But it's
great.
amazing how many temping bowlers you come across week after week.
I bet you do. I bet you do. Hey, can I? I gotta ask you. You just talked about the pressure, and you don't feel it when you win all these tournaments and stuff. How did you deal with all that pressure? How did you suppress it?
it was called, I called it diversification of focus. Is I didn't focus on the game, I didn't focus on the shot. Particularly when I was in major singles finals, I would never watch the opponent at all, never. I used to just stare at my shoelaces, and quite often I just closed my eyes and just pray, just so it distracted my mind. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you're visualizing the shot every time you get up?
Yes, because when you do the visualization exercises in your mind, oftentimes what happens is you actually get when you become effective at it, you actually get muscle twitches by doing the mental rehearsal. After a while, that mental rehearsal gets impregnated into the motor neuron areas like psychocybernetics, and all of a sudden,
Yep.
oh, okay, I can feel it without even having the ball in my hand. What I'm going to do, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's one of the things I love about doing this mini series is talking to the legends and actually hearing about their mental side of the game and how they change things and what changes they've done in the sport, not just changing a bowling ball. So it's great to hear that sort of thing coming from you. Actually, it's really really good. But I wanted to ask you, coming through the ranks, how hard it was for you. Let's face it, it was a very male-dominated sport back in those days. How hard was it for you coming through and then beating a lot of the guys out there, which would have been pretty cool?
Well, I guess the advantage with the eras that I experienced, the women didn't play against the men very often,
Yep.
right? Because there was enough to be able to call upon as far as entries to tournaments without the women having to play against the men. So in the South Pacific, yes, there may be, a pool of, the filter would go down to about 60 men, but there'd be 40 women. So those days you just don't hear of that many women bowling in tournaments, except for, God bless him, Brian Bates's tournaments that he holds up at Caboolture,
Yeah. He's
and he's absolutely amazing, and he's another fantastic ambassador for the passion for the game, in
yeah,
more ways than one, both as a
yeah,
proprietor and what he's done for Rockway and things in Queensland over the years is incredible.
yeah. I actually I interviewed him a couple of days ago, and once again, an absolute true legend of the sport. And I yeah, I think people will get a lot out of his interview just to find out that how tough it is to actually do what he's doing. Social play versus tournament play or league play, and the cost of running a centre and all the changes that he has to do with lanes and
Sure.
machinery and pins. So it's yeah, it was
Oh, and God bless him. He's kept his centre may not be a rush cutter. It may not be huge.
yeah,
However, he's expanded and he's got the other 4 lanes that he decided to use for birthday parties, which is
yeah,
fantastic. But when you went there and bowled in a tournament, you were in an environment that you felt like even just people coming and watching. He used to promote spectators to come and watch tournaments.
yeah.
And even as recently as when I used to go up there and watch the Queensland ladies, just just watching it and going, I can't get a seat. My God, what's going on? I can't get a seat. You know,
Crazy, crazy. Yeah,
but no, good for him. He's a fantastic promoter, and
yeah.
again, his passion and his desire for the game and develop the game is awesome.
He would absolutely love to hear that. So yeah, thank you for that. He'll cherish it. And I think we did have a couple of words because I spoke to him about I really wanted to get you onto the show, and so yeah, he gave a lot of thanks to you and everything that you've done as well. So hey, what makes Jeanette Baker so tough on the lanes to beat? How did you win so many games? Is it your mental edge? Is it your ability to hit a target over and over and over again? What makes you so tough to beat?
First of all, I never aimed to win. I never wanted to lose.
Oh, I
You
love
see, there's
that.
the difference.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's not that I love winning. I just hate losing.
yeah,
And every time, and people say, and it's a fair analogy, if you are not successful in winning something, you haven't lost, you've learned.
Yeah.
So if I wasn't successful, then I'd go home and go, okay, what could I have done different? How could I approach that surface? How could I approach those lane conditions and everything else like that? How can I prepare for that next time?
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was never a loss, it was a learning experience.
Yeah. That is just a great statement, and I hope people watching this take that on board, because I wish I had known that years ago myself, because it does. I mean, straight away that's going to take a bit of pressure off you as well. I'm not here to win, but I just don't want to lose. So that's,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
that's relieving
And
a
and
lot of
that's
pressure.
where sometimes when you get down to the nitty gritty and there's only a couple of games to go in the tournament and you go, oh god, I'm 140 pins behind and there's only a couple of games to go. Oh, maybe now's the time I need to throw a decent game, and you chuck in a 290 or a 300 and go, okay, now I'm in front, I can cruise home.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So did you thrive on the pressure?
It's it's an identity. I mean, I and sometimes it was frustrating because people couldn't differentiate between the personality that was in the players area and the personality that was outside the players area.
Yeah.
Because, but by the same token, whenever I bowled in the Vic 150 in a lot of tournaments I bowled in, if there was somebody on the lanes with me that was struggling, I would do everything I possibly could to help them and encourage them, and feel more confident within themselves to play, because they're the participants we need to be there all the time.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not the elite, it's that level below that you need to enter tournaments and be encouraged to want to play in tournaments, not be
Yes.
deterred.
Yes. Without
Um,
them, without them, you don't have many people in the tournament, do you? So yeah, you're right.
correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Very accurate. And being able to repeat, repeat, repeat. Plus the other dimension, I guess you could call it, that I had a lot of people didn't, is I could play anywhere across the lane. I could go out to the edge of the gutter and I could come in and play middle arrow. And particularly, that became particularly evident once I transitioned into seniors, is that I could play areas of the lane that the others couldn't.
Yeah.
And so I go, oh, happy birthday to me, happy birthday to me. And that's when, you give me the condition and I get the right ball in my hand. I go, and there used to be a joke with Andrew Frawley and I, is that he go, oh, you out average me again? And I said, you give me my condition when nobody else can be there, and it's as clean as a whistle for me, so I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah. Isn't it a great sport where men and women can challenge each other, and both can win. I love that about our sport. Yeah. Did you like being the bowler who was being chased? Like everyone would needed to chase you to get to the top.
I never concerned myself with anybody else.
Yeah.
I was just honest with myself. I had to look myself in the mirror and say, are you doing everything you possibly can?
Yep.
So
Yep.
consequently, when I was in Sydney, I used to practice. If there was no tournaments on weekends, I was out there 6 times a week practicing.
Yep. Yep.
That was just my regime. I had no personal life, but I practiced a lot.
Well, it was it all worthwhile in the end? All your achievements.
I mean, obviously, it was an investment,
Yeah.
right? It was an investment in time to that. But the one statement people say, oh, you've had so much success, and I said, well, no, success is a perception. I have achieved a lot of titles. I have achieved a lot of things, but based on me looking in the mirror, I don't say that I've necessarily been successful.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to agree to disagree, but anyway.
Again, that's only that's my own perception, because I'm just not a person who would go around and run around and go, oh, did I tell you I did this? Did I tell you I did that? I'd be, oh no, I
Yeah.
played on the weekend. Even to go into work after being away for a weekend, and they go, I had to go. Oh yeah, 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 everything went well. Yep. Oh,
Oh, dear me.
or I
It's the
might say, oh, I made money. That's
Yep.
all.
the biggest thing I've got out of doing these shows is just how humble Tenpin bowlers are. Because you're not on your Pat Malone. Everyone says the same thing. Oh, I don't rate myself as that good. I didn't. Oh, thanks for the invitation. I didn't even see myself as a legend. And I'm thinking, have a look at this. You know, you've got so man, you're a damn legend. You know, you don't get any better than that. So, yeah.
But
Hey, Adam.
it's the same. You know, it's what other people. I went to a World Cup a couple of years ago to watch it, and unfortunately, it was the last of the old World Cup. And one of the women from England, who was a journo, came up and she said, "Do you know that you've only participated in the Bowling World Cup 4 times?" And she said the lowest you ever finished was seventh. Nobody else could ever say that particularly. And she said, and you participated over all 3 eras of the game, and not too many others. She said they come and go, but she said no, no. And that I thought, oh, that's interesting. I never ever thought of it that way. But the people that do the statistics and do the other things, and I forgot about the fact that I transcended. I went from rubber, I went to urethane, I went to reactive. You know, I transitioned in each of those eras
Yep.
and went, oh yeah, it's a different ball game. You know, people who played then don't necessarily weren't able to participate when they came up, went to the different equipment.
Yep. How did that change your game when you went from urethane to reactive?
Now I had to do that on my own. I had no help in that, so all I did was just watch and observe, and see what other people were doing. And it took me a couple of years to realise that I didn't have to really bowl the ball any differently. What I had to do was just get my equipment weighed out slightly differently to match up with the surfaces because of the impact that the reactive was having on the pins and on the lane and the whole movement of the ball going down the lane. Yeah.
Yeah, it made such a difference to, I mean, to the people who threw a lot of revolutions on the ball. It wasn't such a great thing, but yeah, for people who were throwing down and in and up the back of the ball, wow, what a change to the sport that was! It was absolutely huge.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And that's why I'm rather curious to observe, since they abolished, sorry, modified, should I say, the rules of drilling a bowling ball, that you can't do rev leverage or anything like that. You had to go back and literally label way up a bowling ball, but they gave you more than 1 ounce. They gave you 2 ounces in any given direction to go, okay, well, that could keep some people a little bit more honest,
yeah, okay, I didn't know that. I used
rather
to, I
than
used,
stacking the weight, so that, because then it didn't require skill. You could buy it out of a box.
yeah, 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 certainly could. I saw a lot of that. I used to be a ball driller, and then I ended up having my own pro shop as well up in Brisbane. So
Oh,
yeah,
you
used to,
masochist.
yeah, very much so. But yeah, you could see what a bowling ball would do to an average bowler, and if it was drilled correctly with the right weights and all that sort of stuff. But you're right. The changes now of just I'm so far out of the game. So 2 ounces you can actually have now on side and of the ball, can you?
Well, once upon a time, you know, with all the transition into reactives, that's when they created all these weird and wonderful weight blocks in the centre of the ball. So what they did is they started tilting the ball and weighing and drilling into the weight blocks to get more stack leverage, more stack weights in any given direction, as opposed to just using the weight block itself. So, and then about, I think it was maybe about 5 years ago, the US said, right, that's it. We're changing the rules. We're taking it back to label weights, none of this stack leverage or anything else like that. But
Yep.
we're going to increase how that could go. Back in the 70s and 80s, it used to be you could go 1 ounce of finger weight, 1 ounce of positive, 1 ounce of negative, 1 ounce of thumb.
Of
But
yep.
they increased that to 2 ounces to say, well, okay, you can play a little bit, but none of these axis holes in the sides into the weight blocks to stack leverage it.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'd make a big difference. Big difference.
Oh
But
gosh, yes.
when was the last time you bowled?
March 2020.
2020. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I retired at the end of 2019 officially, and then they renamed the seniors AO to the John Sullivan
Yep.
after he passed away. And his wife came up to me and said, "JB, you've got to come out of retirement because John would love you to win his first tournament."
Oh, yeah.
So I came out of retirement, bowled in it, and then that was it. No more.
Yeah, wow. I've actually got Tony Roderick sent through to me John Sullivan's the video that was played at the reunion, I think it was. Tony put together. It was just all the memories of John Sullivan bowling and stuff. So I'm going to
Mr.
ask.
Magic.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to ask for Tony's approval to actually put it up so people can see it. So
Oh,
be
that'd be lovely.
yeah,
Absolutely lovely.
yeah. It'd be pretty
There's some
cool.
great. People don't realise, when you watch the really old footage back, from the South Pacific days at Bankstown, or even Rushcutter back in the 70s, when in those days the ABC used to televise it,
Yep.
and rubber balls on lacquer lanes. The younger generation of today go, okay, that'd be no different to giving you a house ball and saying good luck.
Yeah, yeah,
It's all parallel.
yeah, yeah. 100%
Everything's
right.
relative.
100%
Mm.
right. Yeah, the lane conditions, the bowling balls, the synthetic, everything plays the same. I think, you're bowling on timber lanes. I think Tony actually said this to me, that no tree is the same, so every lane plays differently. Because, when you're on a timber lane, but synthetic is just the same lane from lane to lane, basically. It's just the condition that you're bowling on.
Well, it can and can't be. It all depends. Do they drag? But there's a lot goes in behind the scenes to dictate.
Mm,
How the topography of a lane can work. What's the air conditioning like? Where does the air conditioning come from? What
mm.
temperature do they have it on? What time do they put it on?
Yeah, yeah.
It plays a huge impact on how a lane plays.
Well,
Like Caboolture Classic, I could tell you, 1 and 2 are dry, 17 and 18 are the straightest pair.
yeah, really. Is that always the case?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
only because of the structure, the building
yeah,
structure,
yeah,
and 13 and 14 were the toughest pair to play on at Caboolture, I found.
yeah. Okay. You've
Mm.
you've just given me a segue into the next thing, and it's the Goldpin Coca-Cola Classic, which was just an amazing thing for Australian Tenpin bowling. And what a shame it didn't continue on. And you had a lot to do with it. And the segue is because you talked about changing conditions, and I was going to ask you. I mean, what was it like to be involved in the TV show, not just bowling but commentating? And also, what was the difference in bowling under lights and the transition of the lanes? How quickly did they change?
It used to be very, very quick, and when you consider the surfaces that they were bowling on, there was one particular um, gold classic that was bowled at the original old Capella bar,
Oh yeah.
and it just couldn't manage. They desperately tried to put enough oil on it to last with the lights and everything, but it really made it difficult. The bowls were really, really struggling to average 170. It was just
Mm,
so tough. But anyhow, it became a learning curve, and yeah, you could see, and that's where you had to have the eagle eye and go, okay, I'm watching where they're standing on the approach, I'm watching where they're targeting through, and I'm watching this and I'm watching that, and are they changing equipment? Why are they changing equipment? Why are they changing lines? And it's all about how the lane break down, and the oiling patterns that were on there, and were they fresh on when we first started doing the show. But we used to always try and make sure we did 4 shows and then re-oil
yep.
because of the impact that the lights would have.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. And what was it like for you? Jumping from bowler to commentary. How good was that?
Don't laugh. I much preferred sitting in the commentary box than what I did being down on the lane.
Yeah. Yeah. You did
I
a great.
really,
You
really
did
did.
a
I
you
loved
did
it.
a
Yeah.
tremendous job. I'll be honest with you. Sort of, if you weren't part of the bowling industry, and you just would have thought that you were a sports commentator and not the actual bowler out in the
Ah,
lanes. So yeah, yeah, good on you for that. funny. I had it. I was tournament director at the America of that one where Michael Little won with Brian Bates, and I didn't do a lot, but I was there with Brian Bates and Gary O'Neill.
Uh-huh.
And I actually got asked, when Brian and I talked about this, they came up and they asked me if I would like to do some commentary. And I turned it down. I was a young kid. I thought, no, I don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. And Brian said the same thing. He was offered, and he said no. And we both looked back at it now and thought, probably should have done that. It would have been pretty cool.
It's worth a try. It really is worth a try. The hardest thing sometimes is to curtail your vocabulary if there's somebody playing that you don't want to win.
Yes.
That you
Yes. Yes.
You've got to try and be very subjective about the whole match, and be equally as positive to both players and whatever. But no, it was really good fun. And as I say, a lot of the times I used to do it with Steve Mackey, and he would often he'd come up with something and just lead into me and say, right, now you talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've actually
So that always helped.
Once again, Tony's actually given me, Tony Roderick has given me a lot of the uncut footage that didn't go to TV. So hopefully I can put some of this into the segment right now and have you on commentating and actually bowling and stuff as well. So fingers crossed I can get away with that with copyrights and stuff. So we'll see how we go.
Once upon a time, there was a series of tournaments around Sydney, right, called the Grand Prix circuit, and there used to be about 8 tournaments a year, and it was played all in different. And God bless them, SBS used to come and do the finals.
Yeah.
Right. Just the one camera. That's it. Just one camera, and just taking different shots beforehand before you went into the final. And oftentimes it meant that Steve Mackey and I had to go into the studio the next day and do the commentary. And he used to get upset if I was in the final because he said, well, I've got nobody to commentate with.
Got to do it on his own. Or did he get a sub in?
Go get somebody else in. Because obviously it was unfortunate that whole series just dissolved into the abyss,
Yeah.
And then a couple of years ago, the private proprietors, the Goldpin group, decided to try and resurrect something. And that went for a couple of years, and then again that just sort of disappeared. But they asked me to go out and do some commentary for that. And I said, look, don't you think I'm too old to do it now? I said, just don't show me any picture shots. Don't let me be on camera. You can listen to me, but don't
just do the voice. Please. Yeah, okay, yeah.
That's it. And it was interesting because there you go. You talk about the history of the game. One of the younger bowlers turned around and said, well, what's she doing sitting there commentating? Does she know what she's doing?
Oh, no.
But the cute part was his mother turned around and said, she was doing that before you were born, sunshine, so don't worry. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah. Once again, I hope that these videos are going to, these episodes are going to go to the younger generation and actually see, what the past of Tenpin bowling is all about. So, bit of respect.
That's what I like to see. I still go. I haven't so much over the last 2 years, but I used to go and watch the tournaments when they were in Melbourne. Go out to Keon Park and watch the AO and the Vic 150 and things like that, and just see people and watch them. And I just look at the kids and I go, do you know what? The game's not all about you. You've got to realise it's bigger than you, and if you can look at what can I give, especially when you've been successful, and there's been some absolutely amazing ambassadors of the sport over the years, that haven't put their hand out and said, I'll do it for X amount of dollars, but I'll do it because I want to, And I just hope the younger ones get that in their mind that really the game is bigger than them,
Yeah. I'm just overwhelmed with this series, the amount of people who just put up their hand and said, yes, I'll do it. And then I've had people actually contact me and saying, hey, do you want me on? Which I just think is fantastic. So, but it's pretty cool to talk to the legends of the sport. I'm absolutely loving doing this. But hey, just back onto your bowling. on TV, and I know you're bowling against the pins and you're not worried about anything else, but is there an added pressure when you're on TV, knowing that people are going to be watching you and I've got to score or a good game?
There is, but yeah, because it's a different environment. You've got all the lights and you've got the cameras. You've got, you know, I used to worry about riding strikes in and coming back on the approach because there'd be a cameraman lying down on the ground with his
Yeah,
camera sitting on the back of the approach,
yeah,
and I was thinking, oh my god, I'm going to break one of them one day. But anyhow, um, but yeah, the lights do have a big impact, obviously, because hey, we all respond differently in regards to perspiration and how we react to the heat. And that
yeah,
was one of the big issues was some people swell in the heat, some people shrink in the heat. And to have your equipment primed, ready for that was an added pressure that you didn't have to take into account from the regular major tournaments that were being held. So it had big advantages, but sometimes it was, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't know that I've got enough. Have I got enough tape in the bag to pack the finger holes up with? And you know, am I ready for this? Have I got the right ball? Am I? And because it's only one game, you go, oh, that's it. It's over and done with in one game.
yeah,
Do
yeah,
what you can.
yeah,
Yep. It does. You're right. It does. There is the nerve element increases. Obviously, the pressure increases because now it's not just the people that are there. There's another audience that you're not seeing that are actually viewing it. And people that you work with are going to see this, and people that you maybe catch the bus to work with are going to see this. So
yeah, yeah,
all of a sudden there's this is other market going on, and yeah, some people embraced it. Some people like Steve Lovell, right? He was one who would be the showman,
the lovey shuffle.
right? Absolutely the showman.
Yeah,
Fred
yeah,
Allsop was another real cool customer playing on TV.
yeah,
He looked like it just didn't make any change to him.
yeah,
And of course, one of the biggest freaks who unfortunately didn't stick around with the game was Gary Key.
yeah,
Was so talented, just so talented. Um, and yeah, he'd be, oh, I can do this, I can do that. Do you want me to play straight up the boards? Okay. Do you want me to cross 2020 boards? Oh, okay, I'll do that for you. Like just the ability of these people. And as I said, they made the shows exciting.
yeah, yeah. When you look back at your bowling career, is there's something that stands out the most proudest to you?
The proudest that I was, and again, it wasn't for myself, it was for my country because we'd had so many good bowlers since 1965 go away and bowl in what became the Bowling World Cup. Um, and to win the first one that Australia won, which was back in 82, that's when I went, oh, this is surely to God, this is going to help things at home as far as recognition is concerned, and that Australians can do this. We don't just come to make up the numbers. We can do this.
Yeah,
And then, as you know, what came after that was Amanda's performance, Anne-Marie Putney's performance, Jason Belmonte's,
yeah,
the number of, even Chris Batson in the early 80s, he was the best placed Australian up until then in 1981 in New York at the World Cup. So it was just fantastic that Dale Gray back in the very second women's one in 1974 in Caracas, finishing second. Amazing stuff. But to finally win one and go, see, we can do it. And then getting the recognition from the other
yeah,
players that came after me, not because of me, but after me, and the
yeah,
success that they had just reinforced and finishing up with Beck Whiting, winning the final one.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, as you said, the winning results that we've had, just amazing. Especially in the women's division has just been incredible. The
Sure,
bowlers, the
sure.
bowlers that Australia have produced has just been absolutely mind blowing. So yeah,
Well,
yeah,
the Maxine Nables of this world. The women bowlers. I must admit their credentials have been absolutely outstanding in that particular event. And it's a tough one to win because it's three separate tournaments in one. You
yeah,
play three different. the process is 3 separate tournaments.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Well, listen, just your view. A lot of the guys that I've spoken to, guys and girls, I've spoken to about World Cup or just bowling overseas, they've all said the same thing about you get selected here on Australia in Australia on Australian conditions, and then you go overseas, and it's just a completely different ball game. The lanes are just so different. They play so different. Did you find that?
Oh, very much so. Very much so. Very rarely did you ever find anything that resembled what we played on. Because over here at the time, we were not great at putting a lot of oil on the lanes in comparison to other countries.
Mm. Mm.
So, whether it be economics, I don't know, but there was never a lot of oil put on the lanes. And so when we went to play internationally, it was first of all the shock, horror, and dismay about, my God, where's all this oil come from? What do we do? So no, exactly. Go to the bag and go, have you got a 200 grit pad there that we can
Yep.
wipe it all up?
Scour it up. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Dear me.
So, yeah, and that's where, again, over time, it became, well, we'll get there 3 or 4 days earlier than perhaps we originally planned so that there's an opportunity to at least acclimatise to the centre and the surface,
Yeah. 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 Jeanette, I've taken up too much of your time already. I know you've got your beloved Pies playing at the moment against Hawthorn, and I believe they're up. So I've got 6 quick questions which I'm going to fire at you, which is called
Fire away.
the frothy 6-pack, which is
Oh, okay.
which we call it. It's usually very, very long and drawn out, but I'm going to do it quickly. And just let me say, when I started doing this, I never thought that I would talk to the people that I've spoken to. But tonight I'm speaking, and I know you're not going to say this, but I'm speaking to one of the true legends of Australian Tenpin bowling, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be absolutely here and talking to you tonight. So I really appreciate you coming on, and I'm sure everyone else is loving hearing your story. So I thank you from all of us. So thank you. Number one, you probably didn't have one. Who was your most feared opponent? Who did you hate getting
My
up
most
to?
feared
Yeah.
in the early years, Cheryl Munson.
Yep.
Cheryl Munson and Barbara Richmond, they were tough, really tough
Yeah.
competitors.
Yeah. Yeah. You would have come up against them head to head a lot, wouldn't you?
A hell of a lot, yeah.
Yeah. Talk about the
Cheryl
fear.
Munson, of course, Cheryl Munson stopped me for going for the 3rd World Cup in a row.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had to go through the process and play the South Pacific, and I was runner-up to her.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
I think Barbara Richmond, I talking about fire in the belly. I don't think I've ever seen a female women's bowler with so much go. Wanted to win, and I just aggression, amazing.
True.
Yeah. Number 2, what's
And
your
then, of
favorite?
course, there was Ruth Gerska.
Oh yeah. I don't think I've ever seen Ruth bowl.
Ruth was if you want to put it in categories, Ruth was the queen for a long time.
Yeah. Okay.
And I sort of came through the ranks from the juniors and started to sort of sneak in the back door. And as Ruth started to fade, I started to escalate. So, yeah, there was she was again, very very tough to beat.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Where was she based? Was she New South Wales or Victoria?
Victorian based.
Victorian based. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, never got to see a bowl, unfortunately.
Uh-huh.
So, question number 2, what's your favourite bowling centre of all time?
In this country,
Up to you.
in this country, I would have to say it was. Oh, anyway, I've got 2 to think of. I've got Lidcombe, which I only because I always bowled really, really well in that house.
Yeah.
And the other one I loved was that I felt confident when I walked in the door was Keon Park.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people say that. I love Keon Park. Gets highly well rated. Number 3, what's your most memorable win?
The first one.
Yeah.
The first one is his first the Australian Junior Masters champion in 1971. How's that?
Yeah. Wow.
That's
Wow.
the
Wow.
most
Wow.
memorable one because once you get the first one, it's downhill after that.
Oh, stop it! It is not. Number four. This is going
No,
very quick. No, you're right.
go ahead.
Okay. Number four. Who did you look up to as a bowler when you were growing up?
Definitely Ruth Gerster. As a competitor, people like Richard Hall,
Yeah.
um, and then going through the eras. And once we got the exposure to internet and computers, then I really embraced bowlers from overseas, some of the women bowlers from overseas, and um, people like Nikki Giannoulias and the better bowlers and Kelly Kulik and in the more modern era. So it varied from era to era, just watching just how amazing their talent was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I used to sit back in envy.
Yeah. Well, you shouldn't. Oh, you're gonna hate me after this. Kept putting me up on that bloody pedestal. You did. That's where you deserve to be. um, Number five, the one tournament that you would love to bowl in again. And I always say this: it could be a tournament that you won, it could be a tournament that you didn't win that you wanted to win, or it just could be a tournament that you absolutely loved.
As a singles player, was nothing ever beat bowling in the South Pacific in its
Yeah.
era when it
Yeah.
was at its prime. But as a team player, nothing beat the old format of Rockway.
Yeah.
That was tough. 3 days of tough bowling.
Yeah. Yeah. Once again, everyone, not everyone, but most people have said South Pacific is their tournament that and I just said to Warren Stewart, I said if there's a bowling centre manager or an owner out there who wants to start a new format for a tournament, that's what you want to be looking at because everyone loved it. So bring it back, bring it back. Number six, this is going to be really tough for you. Your favourite bowling ball of all time?
Okay, I only have one bowling ball in the storage shed downstairs,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the one that I won the first World Cup with.
Oh, really? What
I've
was it?
still got it.
What is it?
It was it was before Reactives, before urethane. It was an RC5, a roto grip
RC5.
RC5,
Oh, okay, yeah, the rubber grips. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
rubber ball.
Yeah, yeah. Now, because it's in storage, does that mean that you might make a comeback?
Oh God, no, 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 no. I've kept it. I have kept it just in case there was an opportunity, if there was a museum opportunity or something or other like that. I've just kept that one.
Oh, I
But
hopefully hope.
the one that again, I had a favourite ball in each of the eras. Like seriously, the LT48 was my favourite before
Yep.
urethane came in. Right then, when urethane came in, well, I had a couple, but I loved Brunswick equipment in the urethane range. And then when it came to the reactives, because of the Australian conditions and bowling predominantly senior tournaments, I really loved the roto range, the high road range. They were very, very good
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
Very, very kind to me.
Awesome. We're done. We've made it to the finish line.
And, oh, fantastic! Thank you.
What's the score on the footy?
It's okay. We're 17 points in front.
Oh wow,
Quarter time.
you're doing well, doing well. Quarter time, perfect timing. Jeanette, been an absolute thrill and an absolute honour to talk to you tonight. I really appreciate you coming on. It is just some of your stories are amazing. You're an amazing bowler, you're an amazing talent, and I'm sure you're ripping up the bowling greens. And I really appreciate you coming on. So thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
No, faith.